Hello, today we're going to look at check raising on the flop. Very tricky spot, so I'm going to give you 3 simplifications with very easy heuristics that you can follow in game. Check raising is tricky because we have many different hands that we could select, but we could also call, so it's hard to know which hands to raise and how often to raise them. In my coaching, the students learn how to estimate every single combo on every board, but today let's have a look at these 3 examples. Example number 1. Board is A7-3 monotone and we have a flush. King 2 suited of spades. Do we call it or do we raise it? What do you think? How do you approach it? I'm going to tell you for now that this combo is a decent combo to raise. So let's raise it. Now you can see the correct strategy according to this GTO Wizard sim. And you can see we could raise, we could call. It's basically 50-50. So how do we decide whether we raise or call? Just roll dice and 50% raise, 50 call, or is there a simplification? Let's have a look at the new hand. 9-6 suited. We again have a flush on the same board. What do we do? 50-50? Do we roll a dice whether we check raise or whether we check call? What if I told you that this hand is much better to check call compared to the previous hand? So I'm going to call and let's see what GTO Wizard says about it. 95% call, so they don't like check raise at all here. Why is this, and are you able to implement this strategy in your game to remember every single flush combo and check raise it according to the frequency you remember? No, let's see a new board. We have Jack 7 of spades on 8-6-3. Again a flush. Do we check raise or do we check call? Just to illustrate how hard it's going to be if you don't know, but I'm going to give you the answer here. This hand is going to, according to this sim, be basically a pure call. Let's see if we can find a pattern with our new hand on the same board. Ace 2 suited, again flush. Does this Ace 2 look familiar to you? Before we saw King 2, right? Can we see a pattern of maybe being Ace 2 a good combo to check raise? I'm going to tell you yes, we are going to check raise this hand. So notice the first pattern, how some kind of flushes raise more than other kind of flushes. Let's verify the answer. Yes, we can check raise it again about half of the time. One more Ace 2 flush for you guys on a different board. Let's check raise it again and see. Yes, we can check raise it again about half of the time. What about a random flush? 5-4 here. Are we going to call? Yeah, we're going to call, and it's correct 80% of the time, so most of the time we call with this flush draw. Now, what is the simplification I'm going to recommend you? Only check raise Ace 2? Not quite as simple, but let's have a look at the solution and you'll see it's simple enough. Or not, it's all relative. But you see that flushes on the previous board here, the Queen Jack 7, they raise about 18% of the time, so you overall, with a flush, have to mostly call. That's the standard rule. Now you see that with many combos of flushes, you see the little bit of red is low frequency raise. You only raise like 10, 20, 30% of the time. But you see that there are some combinations of flushes that you raise more frequently. Have a look at Ace 2, King 2, Ace 3, King 3, Ace 4, King 4 as an example. So in real life, what if we were to always raise Ace 2, King 2, King 3, Ace 3, Ace 4, King 4 and always call the other ones? Is this bad? Is an opponent knowing what you're doing? Do we really need to check raise to know 10-20% with every combo and then guess the ones you're pure calling and the ones we're calling raising like 40-50% of the time? No, it is not needed. So for you, at your current stakes, you can simplify this. If not, you likely will, as well as all of your other micro low stakes friends, raise this type of board too much with your flushes. This is a population tendency, raising too many flushes on monotone boards. In fact, as you can see here, your sets actually check raise more than your flushes. So here your combo of 7s, you need to check raise at times. If you only have one combo of sets like here, maybe 50-50. It's a bit less, but as a simplification, raise it 50-50. Now to the new board, 8-6-3. Just to simplify again the flushes, what kind of flushes we raise and sets. Here we have all sets, so we have 8, 6s and 3s. So if you want a simplification, check raise the lowest set and call the highest and the second highest. So call 8s and 6s and check raise 3s. It's a simplification for you who are less experienced. Of course, you could start mixing with all of the sets if you wanted to be closer to theory. But the focus here is what flushes are we raising. Are we again raising Ace 2, King 2, Queen 2, Ace 4, King 4, Queen 4 as much as before? You see that they are among the combos that check raise most. But there are also some other, if we observe, it's the higher flushes, so Ace high flushes, some King high flushes, Queen high flushes. But you see the lower flushes not raising too much with a few exceptions, but overall not so much. So again, keep in mind the tendency, because if we want to simplify according to theory. I don't just want to make up something. So again, we observe the combos that check raise more. Let's see the last board that we looked at. A7-3 monotone, A7-3 is ace high, so we don't have ace-2 available as a flush. So again, look at the pattern on the top right. King-2, Queen-2, Jack-2 suited raise, as well as some King-4, Queen-4, Jack-4, more than other combos. So we see a clear pattern on the average board that we raise higher flushes more than lower flushes, but we also raise the higher flushes with a lot of gap between them. So rather King-2 than King-Jack, rather Queen-2 than Queen-Jack. And for sets here we have 2 of them, because aces we raise pre-flop, we 3s a little bit more than 7. So as a tendency, the lower sets slightly more than the higher sets, but overall still more calling with sets than raising. So here's the first simplification for you as a micro low stakes player who is having a rough time with your frequencies when check raising. On monotone boards with your sets, when you have 3 sets, check raise the lower set, check call the highest and the medium set. When you have 2 sets, you'd slightly be over raising, but you can check call the medium set and check raise the lower set. And when you only have 1 set, you can basically roll an RG 50-50. Half of the time raise, half of the time call. Now with your flushes, there are a few considerations I did mention, like straight flushes plus the frequencies that you check raise on different monotone boards change slightly. But overall, you can pick roughly 6 combos. Pay attention if the board is ace, king, queen high, or whether there's a 2, 3, 4, or 5, and pick in this order 6 combos from ace 2, ace 3, ace 4, ace 5, king 2, king 3, king 4, queen 2, queen 3, and queen 4. 6 of them and you'll have a decent check raise strategy. Keep in mind that the check raise sizing is small on the monotone boards, and that you don't only check raise sets and flushes, but you'll also have to learn which weaker hands accompany these hands. But careful, don't just check raise random flush draws way too frequently. Now let's have a look at the second simplification for a new board in the new situation. We are again on the big blind facing 1/3 c-bet from the button, today only 1/3 as a tool for these videos. King 9-8 is the board, we hold 2 pair King 8. Do we check call or do we check raise? Of course we're not going to fold. You will already know by now that some hands you could do both. They're equally good as a raise and as a call, but how do we decide? We could try to remember the frequency of this hand and use the RG, or we can simplify. With this King 8 on the rainbow King 9-8, what do you think the frequencies are going to be? I'm going to say that we are mostly calling. So let's call, and we see 75% of calls. Now to the next hand. We have 9-8 of spades, so no backdoor flush draw. This is also a factor, but I'll mention it in a bit. What do we do with 9-8 2 pair? Do we check call or check raise? Is it again 75% check call and the other check raise? I'm going to say that this one is going to be raised more than the previous one. And we see we call 33% of the time and raise more. So do you need to remember these? If you are very good, very advanced, you could really try to guess, and you know that the previous combo is a little bit less check raise it less, here a bit more. But if you wanted to simplify, would it be a problem to always check raise this one and always check call the previous one? No, it's not a problem. It's better than you getting way out of line with your frequencies. Now with the King 9, the final 2 pair missing, I'm going to say that this combo is going to be very frequently check raised. And for the large size, about the sizings in my coaching I explained when it makes sense to have smaller and larger check raiser sizes. So for now, let's just focus that this is mostly going to be a check raised, as you can verify here. To see if we can find a pattern, let's have a look at the solution, and you see King 9 offsuit or suited, always basically check raising. 9-8 frequently check raising more than the King 8. So top 2 pair, King and 9, most raises, second most, bottom 2, 9-8, and top with bottom, King and 8, raising less frequency. Let's see if this is a pattern with only one more board. 10-9-5, this time two-toned, and we have 9-5, which is the bottom 2 pair, so 9 and 5. According to our previous observation, this is a good combo to check raise, so let's do it here. And we see this specific combo about half the time, slightly more, so definitely okay to check raise it. Now we have 10-5. 10-5 is top card with the bottom card. According to previous observations, this would rather be a call than a check raise. Let's see if it's going to be accurate. Yes, it is. It is mostly calling with 10-5. Finally, with 10-9, we have the top 2 pair. According to our observation, this is a combo we should check raise frequently, and this is true according to this sim here. Please verify the solution as well. 10-9 frequently raise top 2 pair, as well as bottom 2 pair 9-5 frequently raise, and the bottom pair 10-5 is frequently calling. So suits have an aspect with it as well as the kind of board. You don't always check raise 2 pair at the same frequency. So if you recognize a board where you check raise more or less, this is good. But as a simplification for you, you could simplify, instead of always using RNG and getting to wrong frequencies, always check raise your top 2 pairs and your bottom 2 pairs, and always check call your top and bottom. So your 2 pair, which is the top card, and the bottom card. The reason for this is that you want to check raise with combos that have good turn cards. So the most good turn cards, the better for you to check raise. And the most turn cards that suck, you want to check raise less. So let's see what happened if you check raise King 8 here. King 8 on the flop. Now the turn is a 9. King 8 sucks. You don't have 2 pair anymore. Any King 10, King Jack, King Queen is better. Is this true for all the boards? 10-5. We check raise 2 pair, 10-5. Turn is a 9. 10-5 sucks. Any 10 ace, 10 king, 10 queen, whatever, is better than our 10-5. We got counterfeit. So when check raising, it's important to think about what turn cards can be good and bad. When you clearly see that the turn card is going to suck for one combo but not for the others, that combo is likely going to check raise less. Now to our third and final simplification for check raising. If you want a new video with more check raise simplifications, just leave me a comment and share the video. I want a lot of views to make more videos of these. And if you want all simplifications, hire me as a coach. But now let's get to it. We're looking at ace high boards where there's a possibility of a high and a low gut shot. So ace 3, ace 2, 3, 4, 5 is a straight, and ace 10, ace king, queen, jack 10 is a straight. How are we going to play our gut shots? Here we have king, queen off. Is it a check raise or is it a check call? You of course cannot fold this hand. So we see that this one is always a call. Next hand. 4-2 suited, we have a backdoor flush draw, which is important here as well. I'm not going to deny it, but focus more on what type of gut shots we have. Low or high gut shots. What about this one? Again, always call with a gut shot? No, we almost always raise the 4-2 suited with a backdoor flush draw. What about king jack? Are we following the same logic as before? Yes, we always call basically with the king jack. 4-5 suited, again backdoor flush draw. Again, almost always a raise. Is this the same for a different board? Let's find out on ace jack 2. So we again have a bottom gut shot, low gut shot and high gut shots. What about king 10 suited here with the backdoor flush draw? Will the backdoor flush draw make us want to always raise this hand or almost always raise this hand? Are we following the logic of mostly calling our big gut shots, so the high gut shots? Here you see there's some raise, but mostly call. What about 4-5 suited for the low gut shot with the backdoor flush draw again? It's almost always a raise. So I think you already saw the pattern here. Let's have a look at sims to confirm. The good thing about GTO Wizard is that you can filter the range only for the gut shots. So if you want to do it by yourself, sign up through my link in the comments and YouTube description and you get 10% off the first purchase. And now to the sim, you see that the bottom 5-4, 5-3, 4-3, very high frequency raise. And the top gut shots, so the high gut shots, king queen, king 10 off, queen 10 off, king 10 suited, queen 10 suited, all low frequency with the exception of queen 10 suited. If we look close at the queen 10 suited, you see that the combos of diamonds, so without the backdoor flush draw, is also mostly calling, and just with the backdoor flush draw raising frequently. So overall, it is possible to say that low gut shots raise frequently and high gut shots don't raise frequently on these ace high boards. Let's see the other ace high board we looked at, and we see that on ace 10-3 again, there's a high frequency raise with 4-2, 5-2, 5-4. And except for the queen jack suited, again with the same logic of the backdoor flush draw, the high gut shots have low raising frequency. So my third simplification for you, a simplification for low stakes, micro stakes players who have trouble with their raising frequencies, with the gut shots on ace high boards that have high gut shots from ace to 10 or low gut shots from ace to 5, the baby straight, you check raise all of your baby gut shots and you call all of your high gut shots and you'll be fine. As a simplification, and you can for yourself study the other combos that are needed to check raise on these boards as well. Thanks for watching, thumbs up, subscribe, see you in the next one.